Hello and welcome to the Intel Monthly MVP interview for March. The Intel Monthly MVP is a program where students can nominate outstanding members of their communities for their accomplishments within our esports scene. This week we are joined by Snorlax from the University of Plymouth.
Hey guys.
Snorlax has been nominated by his peers to win this award because of, basically, as I understand it, just single-handedly founding the Plymouth Esports Society. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, just day one. As we had like sort of nothing going on there, and then is it 2 years ago?
A little bored. Yeah. It's 2.5 years ago now.
All right, and as we hear, we've got up to, I think it's like, what? How many members you got? There's a couple hundred, right?
I think we're at 150 paid members, but we've got 600 people in our Discord. So some of them don't pay membership, but join it anyway.
But that's the important number. The bigger number, the better, right? That's the one we tell people. 600 members coming in. Yeah, coming in.
None of them are bots.
Oh, no, none at all.
No.
Strong. So what is it that made you want to go ahead and actually just start up the society?
Well, I was playing with my mates, and one of them said, "Oh yeah, there's like these tournaments we can go into," and I was like, "All right, well we've got to find some extra people from Plymouth then." And I thought, wouldn't this be a lot easier if it was just like a big society? And we had a look, and my mate went, "Why don't you make one? You've got some spare time." And I was like, "Oh, do I? Okay, fair enough then." So I ended up just kind of just talking to lots of people and going, "Hey, you wanna come do this for me?" So realistically, it was just for a search to have people to chat to. It's kind of the original start. I was like, I'm lonely, yeah, I might as well. Got a spare 5 minutes.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, that's sort of how they might end up going. I mean, look, I saw your timetable. You don't have a lot of spare time going on. You're a med student, man. Like,
yeah, I wish.
And so, how did you end up getting so much growth going on? You said 600 members in 2 years. How do you sort of hit that kind of pace?
Lots and lots of talking to people and getting people involved. So most of it was kind of going out and finding people and finding people's mates and talking nicely to them. And I found just kind of the more people you're just ridiculously friendly with, the more people they would bring along. And so, like, if anything, like, all societies when you're starting, there are problems, etc. You got to solve. As long as I just treated it just as friendly as possible, more people ended up coming because of the problems. So, like, 1 minute people would be leaving, the next minute I'd have 50 more through the door because I just kind of smiled at them.
So we said you don't have a lot of time, like a lot of spare time as a med student. And so, how do you sort of juggle the like society and esports alongside your studies?
To be perfectly honest, the first time I didn't. For a mixture of giving up, and for a little while wasn't sure if I wanted to be a doctor, and along with doing so much for the Esports Society, I'm actually retaking a year. So the answer is I don't have time. So now that I'm not chair, jobs are good. But I just didn't have time, so I just did esports instead. Sorted everything out.
Good solve. I mean, fall down. You got to fall down. You got to get back up. That's an inspiring lesson right there. Maybe not the part where it's like, oh yeah, so I just did it again because esports was more important. But
don't do that, kids.
We'll figure that part out later.
Work's important.
All right, that. Yes. So, what were the sort of first, like the major struggles when it came to actually building the society from scratch?
The first kind of problem was our student union won't let us make a society if somebody else kind of wants our area. So we were originally part of a group called GeekSoc, and nobody really wanted to be part of GeekSoc because they're getting called a geek, and they didn't really appreciate that.
Not great.
So the first trouble was kind of negotiating with them to after a while to split and make our own thing, but also kind of working around what they wanted to do. So they were like, "Oh, we need an event for now," and I'm like, "Oh, do you? Well, the season's not on, so what am I supposed to do? Like, what do you want from me?" So that was kind of quite a hard one. The other one is like a lot of fractured groups almost. So there were a couple of different groups that were already competing in the tournaments, but on their own. there was, as it turns out, an attempt of making a society already that kind of hadn't gone anywhere and almost fizzled out because almost not quite enough effort was put into it. So it was lots of, the hard part was trying to find all these groups because they weren't very well signposted and bring them all together so that we had like lots of numbers in a big group where everyone could sit. And then different people wanting different things. So because they come from their own group, they want this, that, and the other. So one group, for example, already had a logo that they wanted. One group had a name, and it was trying to bring them all together into something that was they could all get behind, rather than doing their own little things. If you get what I mean.
So it's the people management at the sort of the core of it, trying to get everyone happy, make the compromises where you got to. Yeah.
Everyone happy. It's so hard.
Yeah, you can't win them all, but if you get like 70% of people 70% happy, that's close enough. Like, you're pretty much there, right? Is there anything you sort of wish that you'd done like a bit differently, or any like advice that you would give to someone who's trying to start their own society, or build up their esports society at their university?
I don't know, done differently. I probably would have spent more time with the committee, making sure we knew exactly what our jobs were, what we did. Because actually, the majority of the problems I had once we were actually rocking and rolling was more working within our committee, and finding a good way to work together. If you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everyone had their own ideas, and I thought, as dealing with the whole society, I was fine, kind of trying to juggle it en masse, and people understand that you can't even, make everyone happy. But when there's only 4 people, it's much harder to kind of go, well, it's en masse.
Yeah.
Because there's less people. So I think getting a strong committee in and making sure they work well together. A little bit about teams as well. I've learned a lot from the years about what makes a good team, and actually skill is much less important than teamwork. So I would have told myself to make sure the games reps think about having fun, and the cohesion of the team is much more important. You probably do better anyway than having all the top skill players on. Probably the 2 things I would have done more differently would have been them.
Okay, and in terms of like advice for people starting their own?
I would find somebody who's already done one. I talked a lot with the Cardiff guy, so shout out to Afran, who helped me a lot. He kind of told me what I needed, what his society did, what he needed, the pillars, that kind of the must-haves in order to enter the tournaments, as well as the nice-to-haves and stuff, and what works and doesn't. So find someone else. You can even copy the templates of a different server. So just make a friend, copy their template of their Discord server, and then just be really lovely to people. I know I'm saying it again, but it's just, that's how you get everyone involved. You do something wrong, the first thing you have to do is go, look, I'm really sorry, that's my fault. Even if you don't believe it's completely your fault, sometimes just taking that blame and trying to be friendly with someone will turn them around and almost make them work for you. So we've had a couple of people, like different companies sometimes, that come in and try and muscle their way in, get a bit upset that we don't want them to be able to take control of our society, for example.
Yeah.
If you just respond to them really nicely, they end up doing work for you. So I had one guy who wanted to use us to recruit for his esports team, and we were like, well, we don't want people to feel too much like they're just being poached and taken away from their scene. And then he ended up instead helping us train a bunch of people instead to do it for us. And it was like, well, that was just being nice to him, and he ended up giving us stuff instead. So just finding someone who can help you and just being ridiculously nice to everyone means that they'll just help you out. Because there are so many societies that already have everything ready. It's just so easy just to give you stuff.
Yeah.
Just palm stuff off to you. So if you're starting a new one, talk to as many people, get as many people involved as possible. You will be embarrassed. You will have to walk up to people that don't like computer games and think you're a nerd. And walk up, hello, how do you like playing games? And it'll be embarrassing sometimes, but if you're nice about it, I've got one person who actually bought the game in order to play for us.
Cool.
Like, he kind of had a PC, he'd never really played games. I was like, but wouldn't you love to sub for us? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then, like, they've ended up being quite a good player for us on our Siege team. So you just got to put yourself out there and be friendly.
What an excellent, that's just an excellent takeaway. God, this is gonna be easy for me to cut together. I just put it all in, just be like, yeah, just be friendly, just be nice, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
God, this is gonna
I can say a couple of times more if you want to cut it in.
Yeah. I'll just splice it into every question. It's just like, all right, is there anyone you'd like to, like shout out or Anything like that?
Well, I'd like to say thanks to Afran for helping
Mhm.
me set it up in the first place,
Yeah.
and a thanks to Ali for not only putting me forward for this, but also for telling me to actually keep my ass in gear and make the society in the first place. A big thanks to everyone that takes part in the society. To be honest, we've had my previous committee. They helped me a lot to get things sorted in the second year.
Mm.
And the current committee are doing a good job of running the society, and everybody who gets involved. Because let's be honest, just me being really friendly to people doesn't make an esports society. People actually have to
Mm.
turn up and do their thing. So it's been really good to have everyone there, especially the games reps, because I don't know a lot about all of the games, so they just kind of do their jobs. So I'd like to say a big thank you to them for actually effectively running the esports side of the society.
Well, thank you very much for watching our Intel Monthly MVP interview for March. And remember, if there is somebody who you think has been an outstanding member of your community, then please feel free to go ahead and nominate them to be next month's MVP. You'll find all the information as to how you will do that in the article around this video.